out of all the Monster Hunter champions, my most wanted is actually Nergigante Archer. I think she is outstanding and has a really cool kit. And I'm probably going to be spending way more than I should to get this champion eventually, because I just think she is so cool. She's going to absolutely transform your Hydra team, which is what I want to showcase today. Welcome on the Deadwoodjedi. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. We are on the test server looking at Nergigante Archer. I like saying Nergigante. I don't know what the R stands for, which is kind of weird just having an initial out there. I'm just ignoring it because I like saying Nergigante. I don't know what it means. But what I do like about her is she looks awesome. Just all spikes and feathers, and I think it's just a super cool look. But as much as I love her look, it's her kit that really shines to me and makes her an absolute Hydra god. I mean, I'm very serious. This is a champion that's going to transform your Hydra teams, in my opinion. Now, she's not going to transform in the sense that she's like an over-the-top damage dealer. That's not her role. But what she does do is something that's so necessary in bringing a variety of roles to your team all in one kit. And that's what makes her so amazing. You can do so many different things for your team. So let's look at her kit really quick, and then I want to bring her into Hydra so we can actually see some of it in action. We'll start off with her A1 skill, which ironically actually activates so much of her kit here. It's a single target ability. It's nothing crazy, but what it does do is places an increased accuracy buff on this champion for 2 turns, which means that once you use that A1, your A2 and your A3, which follow right after, are going to have a hugely increased accuracy amount. That's a massive ability right there. It's almost so good that I think we should open with that and then flow into the other skills. All depends on how you built her, right? But if you're struggling for accuracy, you can build her with a lot less accuracy because of that buff. That's pretty massive. Also, remember, this is Hydra, right? When you can get 1 buff on 1 target, that makes them a mischief head target. So if you build resistance on her, she can be that mischief tank for you. So there's a lot of flexibility and options as far as how you go about building her already just with that 1 skill. Moving her A2 ability here, it's an AoE skill. Now, this is kind of a cool thing that they have going on with some of these Monster Hunter skills. 1 set of skills for when you go against waves or, other champions, and another set when you go against bosses. I think it's a really smart way to make a kit very viable regardless of what you're facing. Here, of course, it's an AoE stun with a turn meter decrease when an enemy gets stunned. But against bosses, and we're talking Hydra here, what it turns into instead is a 2-turn decreased speed debuff. That is massive. Also, a 10% turn meter fill for all your allies. This is a great skill. Decreased speed is the most important, I think, crowd control skill really you can bring into Hydra, because it lowers their speeds. And that means you can take more and more turns. It's a really important debuff to bring to the table. It's great that she has that as an AoE. The turn meter boost is just like icing on the cake, in my opinion. I absolutely love this ability. It does hit hard. All these skills actually do hit hard if you build her for damage. Obviously, Hydra AoE skills not as strong, but they hit hard, relative to that. Then, of course, the A3 AoE places Hex and Provoke for 1 turn. Hex for 2 turns, Provoke for 1. But if the target's a boss, the Hex lasts for 3 turns. The Provoke lasts for 2 turns. She is your Provoke champion for the Head of Decay in Hydra. Full stop. She'll keep that head completely locked down. I mean, this assumes that you build her fast enough to outpace the Head of Decay, but that's not something that should be too hard and should be expected anyway. Besides, remember, she has that decreased speed debuff already in her kit to help with that. She will keep that Head of Decay locked down for the full fight. Not to mention the Hex, which is just one of the strongest damage-centric debuffs we can bring to the table. It is so valuable for us. So she's bringing a lot of stuff to the table already. First off, she can be a mischief tank because she gives herself that 1 little buff, which enables all of her other skills, and you can build her with less accuracy as a result. Her A2 ability, right? Her A2 ability gives you decreased speed, AoE, and turn meter boost. Love that. A3 gives you the Hex and the Provoke. Already, I mean, there's so much to like about this. But we're not done, because the passive ability heals all allies by 10% of their max HP when attacking enemies under a hex debuff. Every single attack, basically. Remember, that hex lasts for 3 turns. She's going to be applying that continuously. Every attack, you're going to heal up your team. This is a massive, massive skill. Oh yeah, also increases her defense by 5% every time she gets a hit from somebody under a hex, up to 30%. So that should be like 2-3 rounds, right? Has a very, very complete kit. This is something that we don't see very often in this game. A kit that fully synergizes. I mean, fully synergizes. I cannot say that about very many champions in this game. And the fact that I can say that about her is one of the reasons why she's one of my most wanted, because everything in feeds into itself, you know? It's just a really nice skill. Now, how did I build her? First off, mastery-wise, I basically went simple, just offense, defense, right? I'm not looking for anything fancy with her. And I could have gone support for sure, right? I could extend the duration of debuffs. I could add more accuracy. Honestly, I didn't need it with the build I had. I do like taking her down the offensive tree because she can do damage. And I have really good gear on her, to be fair. But we built her, I think, really well. 45,000 HP, 4,700 defense. These are solid numbers. Not outstanding, but they're solid enough to keep her alive, I think. The fact she's a defensive-based champion is really so nice. So I can build her survive and damage. But 4,700 isn't crazy damage defense for, attack, it's her damage skill is not super crazy amount, right? But it's definitely significant enough to give you good results. 248 speed, this is kind of what we're aiming for. I always try to get to around 250 if I can with my champions. 101 crit rate, 254 crit damage. Those are solid numbers. They're not crazy out of the park numbers, but very, very solid. But then we get to the fun part. I built her with resistance, 451. That's enough for a mischief tank, and 392 accuracy, which is enough on Nightmare clan boss. All of this, I don't even need her A1 buff really because of the accuracy I built on her. Now, should I have built that much accuracy on her? Probably not. Probably didn't need it, right? Really, it's kind of a waste. But at the same time, I don't see having a problem with it. It does enable me to utilize her skills quicker. And you guys can understand, if I could take off, 150, 100 accuracy, right? It's actually, with her buff, she'd be up instead. If her actually was 300 instead of the 400 nearly is now, she'd be running with an effectual 450 off that A1 skill. So there's plenty of ways I can lower that and pump those stats into something else, whether we're talking more defense or we're talking more crit damage or whatever. But it wasn't crazy hard for me to build all that accuracy on her. It's a little harder to build all the resistance on her, but we were able to do it. So it's a pretty complete build. So I'm not expecting everybody to be able to do this, but remember, you can utilize her the way you want to. You want to utilize her as a debuffer, don't worry about the damage. If you want to utilize the damage, great. Rely on that accuracy buff. And maybe you don't want to use her as a mischief tank. That's totally fine. Skip all the resistance. There are a variety of ways I think that you can utilize her. And, thankfully the way I have her, I think we'll be able to see all that. Now, this is the team I'm going to bring her in with, right? We've got Tuhanarok mostly there for the cleanse. Does give us that block buffs ability, which is really nice, but really mostly there for the cleanse ability. We've got also Acrizia for damage, Geo for damage. I mean, maybe it's overkill, I don't know, but I kind of wanted to be able to the run to actually perform well, right? Then we also have Uko here. That's going to be our real block buffs champion in case, the debuff spread from Tuhanarok doesn't work. We have Uko there as an emergency, also as a buff strip champion, right? Also as a decreased attack champion, really bringing a lot for the table. Then we have decreased defense and weaken from Lydia here. The great part about this, as you can see, with Lydia, with Uko, with Nergigante, we have every single debuff we need. That really allows us 3 spots to fill with. I can put in damage or survivability. I have a lot of flexibility at this point as far as what to put into those roles because she brings so much to the table. It's really, really nice. So let's just jump in. We'll do the run. I haven't preset any skills. I don't really feel like I need to that much. And with Nergigante, we're going to go ahead and just start off with that A3 ability. I'm not really concerned about it, to be frank. And I want to get that provoke out right away. It's kind of like the first thing that I want to get done and over with if I can. So that's going to be the idea here. So we're going to put this out. We're going against a boss. It should be a provoke for 2 turns. Boom. And remember, I have enough accuracy to land that right away. If I had to tank my first turn around, that wouldn't be the worst thing. You know, if I had to use the A1, give myself enough accuracy to land these, that wouldn't be terrible, right? I also have the aura from Tuhanarok, so accuracy is kind of like, we're doing a little more than we need to. It's a little bit overkill, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, that's decent skill, right? Lands all those debuffs, and already we're going to be doing crazy damage just off the jump here, which is super fun to be able to do, right? But yeah, that's kind of the idea here. We can kind of run it. Now I kind of want to get a sense of what kind of damage we're doing. This is AoE, remember, right? So we'll slow it down to 1x speed, AoE it here with the A2. This is a decreased speed. Boom, 27, 20, 21. Not huge damage numbers, right? I mean, overall, we're talking about 80,000, but we're also getting War Master procs off that. We're also utilizing the Hex with that. So there is more going on than just the simple, oh, I'm, you know, doing XYZ damage, right? There is definitely more going on there. I do want to see what the A1 looks like here next. That's the only other thing. Yeah, click auto on that. Click auto on that. Boom. Okay, here we go. Okay, A1 skill, right? Let's do someone decrease defense, and we can just do the head to the K here. We'll see how much damage we can do. We'll just drop it to 1x speed. Boom. 45,000. Again, it's not crazy numbers. It's not crazy numbers, but it's decent for sure. And the Hex really adds a ton of damage to our kit. So there's stuff going on here. Maybe it's not, you know, game changing, but I'm actually pretty happy with it. You'll see when we do hit a, you know, a random head out here that we do get pretty decent numbers kind of going across the board with it. That is something to kind of keep in mind, that she does against the destroyed head. She does really good job, really good damage amount. So let's see. Okay, now we can check out the A3 here damage wise. Now that we have, oh, she got fear. Man, stupid fear. Sometimes this game, I tell you, these Hydra heads sometimes just tick me off. I tell you. All right, so we're getting those burns out. Okay, A3. Let's see what it does. 1x speed, please. Boom, boom. 29, 30,000. Pretty decent numbers. Definitely not bad, I would say. Nothing game changing though. So I don't know that damage is going to be her main goal here. I think she's really just a debuff champion is her primary role. Maybe a mischief tank for you as well. And I think you're going to get a lot of mileage out of just that in and of itself, right? I mean, we're getting 3 major debuffs: provoke, hex, and decrease speed. That's massive. Not to mention making herself a mischief tank is really strong, and a healer too. You'll notice everybody's full health pretty much. A lot of that does come from her kit. The only other healing we have is from Tuhanarok, who's not exactly a game-changing healer on her own. So pretty solid, I would say. I think we should have another attack. Now you can see we do have one of these champions out here. One of the, you know, heads are decapitated already, which is great. That's wonderful. Super happy about that. Super stoked, right? I do want to see what kind of damage can we get from that. Yeah, 40k. So I mean, just the bottom line, we're not getting crazy damage numbers from her. We're getting consistent numbers from her though, and it's not bad damage, which I think is always very important. So she obviously brings a ton to the table. You know, just such important debuffs. I mean, just such important debuffs. The Hex, the decreased speed, the provoke, are all incredibly valuable. And you can see there A1, I don't know why she's targeting that head, but she is. But just really incredible, really nice stuff. So anyway, I'm just gonna let this run, and I think what we should do is we'll just come back towards the end. I can show you the damage numbers at the end. You can kind of see how well we did, how smooth it was, and I can kind of talk to you guys about how smooth the actual full run went. All right, looking at the champions, how I built them, you can see Tuhanarok right here. Plenty of resistance, accuracy, and speed. This is my nightmare build. I actually use her in brutal, but obviously, you know, generally this is a nightmare team that I'm building, so everything's going to be a little bit out there. You can see Archer here, right? 252 speed, the crit damage, the crit rate, the accuracy, the resistance, all in pretty good stead here to land all the debuffs and buffs that we want to. Acrizia obviously is a beast in this game in general, and for Hydra, especially Lydia here, 269 speed. Again, solid resistance, but really the accuracy is what she's about to land those debuffs first. And then Uko, right? Again, 251. We're just trying to keep that. I generally try to keep my champions between like 240 and 250 speed or higher. And so we're able to do most of that. Good accuracy again with his build. And then very last is Geomancer here, 254 speed, good accuracy to land our debuffs. You know, not the strongest of champions, but he does the job. All right, 80 million damage, not too shabby. I mean, it's not game changing by any means, but you can see a good 14 million came from Archer. Now, I think a lot of that comes from the Hex actually, but still pretty solid little champion there, I have to say. It's not great. I mean, look, she's, I think, very, very good. And it's pretty easy to see how she's so useful. In fact, she kept our team pretty much capped up healing wise, just with her passive ability. I would honestly love, if I had the gear, I would love to actually build her in a curing set. I think that would really help her AoE, like just her heal ability, really shine and take away all the decay damage that you guys take over time. I think she would be absolutely insane like that. That's how I have my Siphi build, and works really nicely. So I would love that. The consistency of her heals, the amount of debuff she puts out, the fact that so much of it is AoE, it's just a really nice kit all the way around, and definitely somebody worth getting. I just really enjoyed her. So that was how I built her, right? Built her with some damage, but mostly accuracy and resistance. And honestly, if I had to do it over again, I mean, like doing it from scratch, I would build her with the resistance, probably about half the accuracy, and in a curing set. That would be my ideal build. Let her A1 do the work for you, right? Let her, you know, I might even put her in a support tree, help her healing out, help give her some free accuracy, maybe extend the duration of the buff that she gives herself, extend the duration of the debuff she places. I think those would be the things I would actually do if I were to build this from scratch, right? Or to build it all over again, right? You know, you really utilize her for a clan boss team. I love her combination with champions like Lydia, like Uko. It works really nice. I think, you know, we had two Hanorok in here, but honestly, someone like Ishmael, right? Inquisitor Shmael would be really, really good in a team like this as well. Another really nice way to like increase our damage potential with her, or with the team in general. There's definitely some options as far as approaches go here. But I'm super excited about her. I really want to get her. I hope I do. Fingers crossed. We'll see. My luck has not been great lately, so we'll just have to see how it goes. If any of you get her, let me know how you enjoy playing with her. If you think I should use her in a different area. I mean, another one of these champions with this dungeon aura, clearly a dungeon design champ, but I honestly think Hydra is gonna be her best spot. If you guys think of a better spot for her though, let me know. I'd love to hear that in the comments down below. But that's all we got for today. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button if you guys did enjoy this so others can see it as well. Until next we meet on the Deadwood Jedi.